Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And we have another UFC event this weekend, UFC Kansas City. That's right, they're going everywhere but Minnesota, I guess, but although I don't really mind, I enjoy watching it on TV just as much as I would probably enjoy in person. Then again, I have been to in-person MMA, and it is much more exciting than on TV, so might have been a hypocritical statement, but on today's episode, we will be going through every single matchup on this card and make our predictions. There's some good ones, guys. Carlos Prates, Ian Gary, Anthony Smith's retirement fight. You get David Onama getting a ranked competitor. Michelle Pereira is back in action. You even got John Castaneda, who fights out of Minnesota. The return of Damon Blackshear. Malcolm Wellmaker makes UFC debut. I mean, we got so much going on. Can't wait to cover that card on today's episode. As well, we're checking in with the NBA and NHL playoffs as we're seeing just where the teams stand. Currently, there have been some good games, there have been some blowout series. We're going to be looking at them all. Not too in-depth, but just a little overview. And, of course, talking about some new UFC news. That's how we kick off every single MMA podcast episode. Pretty much. Sometimes we don't, but usually we do. Guys, it's been a very spontaneous week. As of today, I am recording this on April 25th. It is a Friday, and I graduate college in 2 weeks. And it's really sad. I kind of wish I would have taken on another year just because I'm friends with so many people that will still be here, but I have just had such a fantastic final year in college. I really couldn't think of a better send-off. You know, winning Student of the Year, winning a competition for money, just becoming president of the marketing club, you know, just all the connections I've made. And it's so bittersweet, you know, but I'm having a good time. My low-key gets me emotional. I've been avoiding shedding any tears, and you know what? We aren't going to shed any tears because we are always upbeat, we're always positive, and we're going to be successful. All right, we're going to enter the work world. We're going to become a millionaire. We're going to become something in this world, but that's going to have to wait because we right now have to look at some new UFC fights that have been announced, guys, already. If you didn't know, now you know. First off, UFC Vegas 106 going down May 17th. Julian Erosa versus Melquizael Acosta, men's featherweight division. These two just don't stop. I'm pretty sure this is their third MMA fight. Not MMA, I keep saying MMA, UFC fight of the year. I know for a fact Melquizael Acosta has beaten Andre Fili and Christian Rodriguez in 2025. And for Julian Erosa, he's beaten Christian Rodriguez and Darren Elkins. I'm pretty sure both of those are in 2025. The Christian Rodriguez one might have been at the end of 2024, but these two staying active as ever, looking to get a ranked shot in the men's featherweight division, and this is how you do it. You two just keep fighting, keep going at it, and mind you, we're not even at the halfway point of 2025, and Melquizael Acosta has his third fight, and man, I'm excited for it. I'm probably picking Melquizael Acosta, but this is actually a very good matchup. These two have kind of revitalized everyone's impression of them after some rough starts to their UFC career, so I'm excited to see it. Of course, Julian Erosa trains out of Extreme Couture, the Chris Curtis, the Eric Caulfield, the Sean Strickland gym. You have Melquizael Acosta, who trains out of Shootbox Baru. I think that's under the similar style as Charles Oliveira's camp, but I don't know if it's the exact one. He is from Brazil, though, so that should be a fun one, and I think they should put that on the main card for UFC Vegas 106. I mean, it's just a Apex card, so I don't see why you wouldn't. Another matchup for you on that card, back in action, Super Sodiq Yusuff. Sodiq Yusuff back in the UFC. He takes on Myron Santos. Myron Santos 15-1, 2-0 in the UFC. I believe he won the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know if he was the runner-up, but he's picked up wins over Francis Marshall and Con Offley. Oh, yeah, he did win the Ultimate Fighter Season 32, so yeah. He gets a shot against Sodiq Yusuff. Sodiq Yusuff is 6-3 in the UFC, and, you know, I just think his losses are just unprecedented. You know, first off, Arnold Allen. We all know how good Arnold Allen is. Next up, Edson Barbosa in one of the craziest fights I've ever seen. That's one of the greatest Apex fights I've ever seen. Mind you, just fights overall. And I'll admittedly say it. I was watching it driving home from the cities down to college. And man, I was going crazy in the car. I was really going crazy. And the last time he fought, he of course lost to Diego Lopez. But little did we know. I mean, I knew Diego Lopez was good, but it turned out he was really freaking good. So this should be a fantastic fight. Myron's super good, but I think I might ride with Sodiq. I have under a month to decide on my prediction for that. but should be pretty good. Here's a heavyweight action matchup for you. UFC 316 coming to you from Newark, New Jersey, June 7th. Sergey Spivak, the number 7th ranked heavyweight, back in action against the number 11th ranked Waldo Cortez Acosta. And Shamil Gaziev was supposed to be in the spot that Waldo is, but Shamil had to pull out, sadly, the GOAT, Shamil Gaziev. But Waldo Cortez Acosta, I mean, coming off a nasty win over Ryan Spann, really humbled him in that one. Kind of made us all realize, like, Ryan Spann might not actually be cut out for the UFC anymore. He's 6-1 in the UFC, 13-1 overall. Waldo Cortez Acosta deserves this shot, but the one thing I do want to say for this is that Sergey Spivak, he's ranked number 7 for his grappling in a division where if you're really good at grappling, you will have much success. And as for this one, Sergey Spivak obviously lost to Halton Almeida, but when I look at like his 5 losses in the UFC, I mean, you also have Sergey Pavlovich, you have who else has he lost to? Spivak's lost to Tom Aspinall. He's lost to, I don't know if he lost to Curtis Blades. I think Cyril Gahn beat him. Alexander Volkov, I think, might have beaten him. He's only lost to some of the tough top guys of the men's heavyweight division, so I'm probably riding with Sergey Spivak, but this is a fun fight. I love seeing heavyweight action. There was actually a MMA promotion, I think it was from Europe. They did an all-heavyweight card, or maybe that's coming up. I mean, the heavyweights, you just love to watch giant dudes swinging at each other. Here's a one for you. UFC Vegas 107 going down May 31st. Mateusz Gamrot, the number 7th ranked lightweight, getting a shot here as he takes on the unranked Ludwig Klein. Ludwig Klein holds notable wins over Thiago Moises, Mason Jones, and Ignacio Mohammed. He's very talented. He's just 7-2 with a draw in the UFC. He's just had some tough luck in matchups. But truly, Mateusz Gamrot, going from fighting Armin Sarukian, Dan Hooker, Rafael Fiziev, to now they have him fighting down against Ludwig Klein, really just sends a statement to me that they don't like Mateusz Gamrot's slow style of pace. I'm picking Mateusz Gamrot all day in this. I'd actually be very surprised if Ludwig Klein won, but thankfully Mateusz Gamrot's fighting, because we're going to mention in just a second how there's no one fighting in the men's lightweight division. I mean, truly, that is such an inactive division right now. Something needs to happen. Here's one for you as well. UFC 316 on that June 7th card. Jun Sang-yu, 8-0 undefeated, coming in, taking on Jekka Saragai, who was 1-1 in the UFC, picked up win over Lucas Alexander last time out. This is a good one. Jekka, he's very die by the sword, live by the sword. As for Ju Sang-yu, come from South Korea. The kid's 30 years old. I mean, good for him. Should be an exciting matchup there. Another one, UFC Vegas 106 on that May 17th card. Connor Matthews, 0-2 in the UFC, getting one more shot, I assume, as he takes on Yadir Del Valle, coming from Cuba, making his UFC debut. He is 8-0. Ooh. Interesting. This should be an interesting matchup on the prelims. I mean, he looks kind of nasty from his picture. And as for Connor Matthews, little to be desired so far for his first 2 UFC fights. So we'll see if he can turn around. If not, he's getting cut. But the final official announcement we have, this one is so fun. The co-main event for UFC Baku, a.k.a. UFC Azerbaijan, Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Mohammed is number 11. And for some reason, unranked Ignacio Mohammed. How is Ignacio not ranked? But this is a fantastic matchup. Ignacio coming off his nasty win over Jalen Turner. Just fantastic. And as for Fiziev, I mean, he's trying to turn it around. Multiple fight of the nights against Justin Gaethje. Of course, had the injury against Mateusz Gamrot. He's back in action. I think we're going to get a fully healthy Rafael Fiziev. He's turning around right after... When did those two fight? Did they fight at UFC 311? I want to say, or 313? So March to June. That's actually like a 3-month turnaround. So quick turnaround for Rafael Fiziev. I love to see it. This one's gonna be fun. I'm probably gonna ride with Ignacio Mohammed just because I think he has so much momentum right now, and he just feels like he's coming into himself, and he's just so freaking good. And as for Fiziev, I almost feel like he's entering the latter stages of his career in a sad way to view that. So we'll just leave it at that. I really hope that fight does take place and is excellent. But before we get into the NBA and NHL real quick, I did just want to say that the men's lightweight division, nothing's going on, and the UFC is actually dealing with some catastrophic stuff right now. So as of right now, Ilia Topuria says he's fighting at UFC 317, the July pay-per-view. Okay? Against who? No one knows. All right? Some people are saying Islam Makhachev is going to vacate, and they're waiting to see if Jack Della Maddalena beats Bilal Muhammad in a couple weeks. If Bilal Muhammad wins, then Islam Makhachev's going to take on is going to take on Ilia Topuria. Now, if, let's say, oh my gosh, I'm trying not to ramble myself here. If Jack Della Maddalena becomes the new champion at welterweight over Belal Muhammad, Islam's going to move up to try and become a double champion, but he's going to have to vacate the belt. In will step Charles Oliveira to fight Ito Pura. So this is what you have to ask yourself. Do you want Ito Pura versus Charles Oliveira or Ito Pura versus Makhachev? Because those are two massive matchups. Now, I love Ito Pura's odds against Charles Oliveira, I think, from the punching power. But for Islam Makhachev, I'm going to be honest, I think Islam ragdolls Ito Pura. I think Islam Makhachev just has that giant wrestler's build, and if Islam Makhachev were to take out Jack Della Maddalena, I think he would finish him in round number 1 as well. But it's absolutely chaotic. And then you have the issue of Dustin Poirier's having a retirement fight this summer. Who's he going to fight? Max Holloway? Justin Gaethje? Are they going to make him fight Arman Tsarukyan? Like, what are they going to make him do? My perfect send-off for Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker rematch. Dan Hooker rematch, 5 years almost to the day. I mean, please run back that fight. It's the greatest Apex fight I've ever seen. I think it actually is. I was raving about Edson Barbosa and Sodiq Yusuff just a couple minutes ago. Nah, Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier, please run that back in front of a crowd. You also have Paddy Pimblett, who people are saying is either going to fight Arman or Justin Gaethje. It's utterly chaotic. That's just one division. One other division real quick, the men's middleweight division. Apparently, Dricus du Plessis may be injured. He's saying he's not injured. Other people are saying he's injured. What do you do now? People are saying that they're going to do Kyle Barala versus Nasruddin Imavov for a number 1 contender fight and have Hamzat Chimaev take on Dricus du Plessis. Now, that begs the question, what if Driss gets injured? What do you do? What I think they honestly do is they have Nasruddin fight Kyle, winner fights Hamzat Chimaev. I think it is just an utter mess right now with all this, but right now, we're focused on the present. We're focused on UFC Kansas City. We'll let the UFC deal with this because certainly I could obviously structure this in a certain way, but I have no idea what they're going to end up doing. Exciting stuff in terms of new UFC fights. But as always, there's always new things going on in the entire world. And as we all know, the NBA and NHL playoffs are going on. So let's take a quick little look at the NBA playoffs, the current standings, and also the NHLs, because it's been pretty exciting. First off, the NBA. So, for starters, going up to the top of our bracket, Thunder, Grizzlies. Look, Thunder are up 3-0. And yet last night, the Thunder came back from down 29. So what you're going to see is a Thunder sweep. And honestly, I don't even think the Grizzlies are that bad. I just think they were an ideal matchup for the Thunder. This Thunder team has so much chemistry. They are so skilled. They have the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It was just bound to happen. For the Grizzlies, they just don't have any dogs. Desmond Bane, Zach Edey, John Morant, they're all good. They aren't dogs, though. They don't got that guy on their team that's scrappy like that. Like, think of, you got Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards. For the Lakers, you have Luka Doncic. For Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton. For the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Rockets got Dylan Brooks, for goodness sakes. You need scrappy guys. Jimmy Butler on the Warriors. There just isn't that guy on the Grizzlies. So, Thunder up 3-0. They're probably going to sweep, and the 1 seed will advance. A tight series for who they would be playing, as the Clippers have actually taken a 2-1 lead over the Nuggets. They had a blowout 30-point win the other night. Holy cow, it was embarrassing. Joker can only do so many triple-doubles before he really needs some help, but this Clippers team, 20 from Kawhi, 20 from Norman Powell, 20 from Zubac, 20 from Harden, 12 from Batum, 10 from Derek Jones. Everyone was helping. It was just domination. This Clippers team, they have great chemistry. I might have underestimated them just a bit. I do think this is seeming like a 6-7 game series, so I think the Nuggets could come back once they can really get some momentum going, but as right now, it's all LA. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I think LA gets 4-1 against the Nuggets. Against the Thunder, but I think the Nuggets could potentially beat the Thunder. I don't know why. I get that impression from those teams squaring off with one another. Moving into the bottom of the West, we of course have the Lakers and the T-Wolves. It's 1-1 right now. It is 1-1, two very good games. First game, game 1, Timberwolves blowout. All right, game 2, Lakers hold roughly around a 10-point lead the entire game. Timberwolves can just never really get it going. They didn't play that good. But now we're back in Minnesota. You get game 3 tonight, and this is just screaming 7-game series. It truly, really is. I mean, Timberwolves and Lakers, this should be a Western Conference Finals matchup. These two teams are just so competitive. They want to win so bad. You can just see it in how they play, and I'm going to root for the T-Wolves, but as of right now, next week it'll be a different story when we talk about the current state of both of these again, but it's 1-1. We're heading to Minnesota. This is a very good series. Who will they be playing, you may ask? I mean, Rockets and Warriors, 1-1. Similar scenario. Warriors go out and win game 1. Rockets fire back game 2. Similar scenario. So, whereas the Thunder are just blowing out the Grizzlies, you're getting the Rockets and Warriors. You're getting the Timberwolves and Lakers going at it, and it's just so fantastic. Rockets are just absolute warriors. Absolute warriors. But now we're going back to Golden State. We're going back to Golden State. So Golden State will take the home court advantage. Those two teams will be playing. Is it tonight? I would assume they play tonight. They've had such a weird scheduling. I'll say, no, game 3 is like tomorrow. It's on Saturday. That's utterly ridiculous. So tough stuff in the West. Thunder are looking right now like the best team. Moving to the East, I mean, it doesn't get much better with the 1 seed. Magic, down 2-0. To the Celtics. And game 1 was really bad, but game 2, they only lost by 9, so it's not like the Magic are completely out. Maybe they could steal a game 4, not get swept, but yeah, the Celtics team is advancing to the next round. I can almost guarantee. Who will they be playing, though? That's a very good question, as the Pacers and Bucks have had 2 absolutely close, competitive games to come right out and start, but both games ended with the Pacers just pulling away. Halliburton has been an absolute menace out there. I mean, what an absolute dog. And he's, how much did he drop? He dropped 21 and 12 last game, points and assists. For the Bucks, Bobby Portis Jr. and Giannis carrying the load. Damian Lillard on 37 minutes, only 14 points. Dame Dollar might be past his prime. I don't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but might be past his prime. Bucks are going to need to do something at home. They're going to need to do something, because right now it's looking like a Pacers sweep. It ain't even been close. As for our, 3 and 6? 3 and 6 seed, you got the Knicks and Pistons, and Knicks are up 2-1, but them Pistons, they got the dog in them. I can't even lie. Last time out, the Pistons really came to play. Only lost by 2 in game 3. They managed to win game 2. I mean, it's a good series. I'm getting bad boy Pistons vibes of this team. They truly want it. 03-04 Pistons. Yeah, this should be a good series. I'm feeling 7 games from them. And I didn't realize the Knicks went 0-19 against like top 3 or top 4 teams this year. I did not realize that. So that's a stat I would have really liked to have seen before picking them to advance to, I think it was the conference finals maybe, but we'll just leave it at that. And then finally the 2-7 Cavs and Heat, Cavaliers are up 2-0. They're just better than the Heat. They truly are. The Heat only lost by 9 in game 2, but they did lose by 21 in game 1. So I think the Heat, they managed to make it to the playoffs. Great win for them. I mean, they came in, they had to play 2 playing games to freaking make it, and it's an incredible achievement, but I just don't see them advancing far. So as of right now, I'll say updated predictions after the first 2 to 3 games for every series. I'm still going to ride with the Thunder and the Nuggets. I still got the Nuggets advancing. I will say, gotta ride Timberwolves there. Honestly, I'm probably gonna switch to Rockets. I was riding with Warriors, but something about this Rockets team makes me think the Rockets will advance. Plus, Rockets Timberwolves would just be an insane series. For the East, Celtics all day, Cavaliers all day. For the 2 middle matchups, I'm gonna stick with the Pacers. Unless the Bucks can make a 2-game rally, I think it's wraps there. And honestly, I'm switching my pick from Knicks to Pistons. I don't know. I'm thinking this Pistons team can pull off a little shocker here and advance. And honestly, Pistons over the Cavs. Maybe the Pistons are this year's Cinderella team. I don't know. NBA is super fun to watch. I'll tell you what's even more fun to watch, and that is the NHL playoffs. My buddies all got me sold. If you didn't know, they're all NHL fans. They got every game on, and they're pretty action-packed. We've had some pretty good series so far, and I've been loving it. The Wild are playing good. I mean, can't hate on that. Love the Minnesota Wild. They're the only team I actually kind of care about, for goodness sake. So right now, check it out. Let's start in the Western Conference. And at the tippy top, you got the Jets and the Blues. Jets are up 2-0, and then the Blues come out, steal game 3. Excellent work from the Blues, 7-2. mind you. So now that we're back in St. Louis, they're coming to play, making it a series. Love to see that. A lot of 7-game series, I think, going down in the NHL playoffs. That's for certain. Next up, you have the Stars and Avalanche, and Stars up 2-1. And I really like that because a lot of people are picking the Avalanche. Stars came in on a 7-game losing streak, and here they are up 2-1. But like I said, 2-1 isn't that good. You really want to be up 3-0. That's where you want to be, 2-0 especially, but 2-1, it's about the same as 1-1 in my opinion. Now, obviously, if the Stars win, it turns into 3-1. That's a whole different tale, but right now, 2-1, it's exciting. Moving down, Wild Golden Knights 1-1. I mean, after a lackluster game one from the Wild, 5-2, fantastic. Wild are now, what is it? Is it I think it's if I'm not mistaken, 2-1? 2-1 in favor of the Wild, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2-1. Minnesota Wild currently lead. Excellent stuff from the Wild. Impressive games, 2 and 3 performances. Look, I'm trying to look at this on Google, and honestly, I should have just gone to the NHL's website, but excellent work from the Wild. Love seeing them perform on. I think my buddies, they went to Game 3, and I think they're going to Game 4, so should be exciting. Make sure to check out episode 183, I believe it is, where we previewed the entire NHL playoffs with them. Now, at the bottom of the West, Kings and Oilers, and Kings are currently up 2-0. Sad stuff for the Oilers, but now we're going back to Edmonton, I believe, so this is where Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl can work their magic. We'll have to see, but as of right now, LA dominated in LA. How about that? Los Angeles has too many freaking teams in their playoffs. All right, someone needs to make Los Angeles bad. They got the freaking Dodgers, Oilers are in the Kings are in the playoffs, Lakers and Clippers are in the playoffs. It's ridiculous if you ask me. Moving to the East, top of the bracket, Maple Leafs, Senators, 3-0. Maple Leafs are dominating. Love to see that. Maple Leafs, I'm hoping they can make a run this year. They were one of my teams. I'm like, the Maple Leafs are going to make a run. Yeah. Keep it up. Dominant stuff over from the Senators. They won 3-2 in overtime yesterday in Ottawa. Beautiful stuff from the Maple Leafs. But will they be playing the Lightning or the Panthers? Right now, a lot of people are picking the Tampa Bay Lightning, but Panthers, defending champs, up 2-0. Good stuff from them. It was game 2, and Panthers shut them out. 2-0, wasn't even close. And Panthers won game 1 6-2, if I recall correctly. So it's been all Florida Panthers, but now we're going to Tampa Bay, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see if there's going to be a little switch up now the teams play. I would doubt it since it's still in Florida, but hey, maybe going from one side of Florida to the other switches up how teams play. Also, on the Eastern Conference side of things, you got the Capitals, Canadiens, and look, 2-0 for the Capitals. It's been, as you could expect. The Canadiens, they've come to play. They play good puck, I guess, but look, this Capitals team, Ovechkin, he just set the all-time goal scorers record this year. He is not losing in round 1. So Capitals over Canadiens, I expect that to continue. And then lastly, Hurricanes and Devils. Man, the Devils were kind of my upset pick besides the Wild, but 2-0. It's been all Hurricanes. Devils just don't have any other stars, I came to learn, so probably going to switch my pick to the Canes advancing. So Hurricanes Capitals is probably my best guess. I'm going to say Panthers and Maple Leafs probably in the Eastern Conference. And honestly, if the Panthers keep this up, Panthers could beat the Maple Leafs. All right, Panthers might return to the Stanley Cup Championship. We'll have to see. As for the West, obviously I'm riding with the Wild. I'm riding with the Wild all day. Wild to win the Stanley Cup. That's how loyal of a fan I am. As of right now, Kings over Oilers. But if the Oilers can win Game 3 in Edmonton, then we'll ride with the Oilers continuously. For the, what are the ones? Stars and Avalanche. I'm going to say Avalanche. I say the Avalanche can still rally only down 2-1. And then as for the Blues and Jets, I think the Jets are going to continue their ways. I think the Blues could maybe make it a 7-game series, but that's as far as they're going to go. So that's all we got for the NHL. Fun stuff. Fun times in the NHL playoffs, and honestly, it is kind of more fun to watch than the NBA at times. You're less likely to get a blowout in hockey, I've come to learn. So hopefully there's no blowouts on UFC Kansas City. I hope that all the action is competitive as we're going to preview every single fight on the card. So let's not waste any time, guys. Let's get right on into it. Kicking off UFC Kansas City, we head to the prelims as we get a women's bantamweight action matchup. Wow, as Chelsea Chandler takes on La Pantera Jocelyn Edwards. I believe Chelsea Chandler's ranked number 14. I knew one of them was ranked. So an opportunity here to remain in the rankings for both of these ladies. Chelsea Chandler coming in 6-3. Jocelyn Edwards 14-6. Both women are 5'8". 2 inches in reach go to Edwards. 70 inches to 68. Southpaw for Chandler. Orthodox for Jocelyn Edwards. The odds makers have this minus 300 for Jocelyn Edwards, plus 240 for Chelsea Chandler, which honestly entices me for Chelsea Chandler a bit just with the odds. I mean, for goodness sakes, these women bantamweight matchups are always 50-50 in my opinion. Chelsea Chandler coming in ranked at number 14, 34 years old, from California, actually from Stockton. That's right, same area as the Diaz brothers. 2 knockouts and 1 sub make up her 6 wins, and of her 3 losses, she's never been finished. She's currently 2-2 in the UFC. She actually picked up a TKO in round 1. Her UFC debut, and since then has dropped 2 decisions and won 1 fight over Josiane Nunez. Last fought in August, where she lost to Yana Santos. I was kind of humbled by Yana Santos. I thought Yana Santos was cooked, but no. Yana Santos made, honestly, Chelsea Chandler made Yana Santos look like prime John Jones. That's the type of fighter Chelsea Chandler is, but there is little to, be in love with Chelsea Chandler. She's actually most famous for her fight against Norma Dumont for literally turning around and sprinting across the cage to run away from her. It is a super funny clip. That is probably all she'll ever be known for. Her opponent, Jocelyn Edwards, coming in minus 300, 29 years young, from Panama. 9 finishes in 14 wins, 5 KOs, and 4 subs. And of her 6 losses, she's been submitted once. Right now, in the UFC, she is 5-4. But those losses, Cara Rosa, Jessica Rose Clark, Nora Cannoli, and Aileen Perez, so some tough competition. Last time she fought was in October, where she got a round 3 rear naked choke win over Tamiris Vidal. Dominated her with the grappling in that matchup. She also holds the wins over Wu Yanan, Jian Kim, Lucy Pudilova, and Ramona Pascal. So no one really too notable, but for this matchup, Jocelyn Edwards, she's younger, her grappling's better. I think that was a big weakness for Chelsea Chandler last time out, so I am going to pick Jocelyn Edwards. There's not much to really look at for this matchup. I would honestly call this 50-50. The odds makers are leaning heavily on Jocelyn Edwards, so if you do throw a little money on Chelsea Chandler, I could see it going well, but at the same time, why would you ever bet on women's MMA? That's all I'm going to say for that. Let's move from the women's into the men's as we head to the men's featherweight division as Timmy Twilight Kawamba takes on Roberto El Charro Negro Romero. I don't even know what that means. The Charro? I don't know what Charro means, but Roberto Romero coming into this one. Minus 120. Timmy Kawamba minus 100. This is a very close matchup. Twilight Timmy Kawamba 8-3. Roberto Romero 8-4-1. 5'9" to 5'8". 1 inch in height for Timmy. 1 inch in reach as well. 71-70. Orthodox stance for both of these gentlemen. We'll start with Timmy. In this one. 26 years young from Las Vegas. 4 KOs in 8 wins, and of his 3 losses, he's been submitted once. He is currently 0-2 in the UFC, a split decision loss to Bellagio Key last February, and in June lost to Lucas Almeida. So Timmy, 0-2 so far in the UFC. I mean, honestly, his Daylight Contender Series win wasn't even that impressive. Little perplexed how Timmy's actually in the UFC. Obviously, he would kick my butt. I just want to throw that out there when I criticize anyone. They would obviously beat me up. But Timmy Kawamba, I don't necessarily know if he is cut out for the UFC. But hey, if he picks up a win here, it'll prove he's legit. But it's no easy task as he takes on Roberto Romero, 25 years old, from Mexico. 5 finishes and 8 wins, 3 KOs and 2 subs. And of his 4 losses, he's only been knocked out once. He was actually supposed to fight April 12th. I don't know if it was against Timmy. I think this fight was maybe supposed to take April 12th, but now it's taking place April 26th. In his debut, this guy comes in, fights David Onama short notice at UFC 309. Didn't win fight of the night because we had Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, but his debut against David Onama was effing insane. I mean, I kid you not. He dropped David Onama, okay? He was standing in the pocket. He was eating the craziest shots of David Onama. I have no idea how he didn't get finished. It's like he was down and out, and then boom, he just fired back a combo and just take David Onama out of it. You're kind of just like, damn, and David Onama had a nasty guillotine choke in, and Roberto was able to get out of it. I'm telling you, I'm telling you right now, Roberto Romero is super talented. You're going to see a breakout performance from him in this one. If he fought anywhere near the level that he fought David Onama in this fight against Timmy Kawamba, he will run through him. And plus, he's got a crowd to do it in front of. Give me Roberto Romero, and I'm actually going to go round 2 knockout. Round 2 knockout, maybe a little standing TKO for Roberto Romero. I'm pumped for that one. Next up, our final women's matchup of the night. Cha-ching! Women's strawweight action as Jacqueline Morum takes on Poliana Dama de Ferro. Poliana Viana. That is correct. Jacqueline minus 800. Poliana plus 550. Insane odds. Amorim 9-1. Dama de Ferro. Poliana Viana 13-7. 5'5" to 5'3". Viana has 2 inches in height. 1 inch in reach goes to Jacqueline Amorim. Orthodox stands for both of these ladies. Let's start with Jacqueline Amorim, the heavy favorite. The 9-1. She's been fighting pretty good. 29 years old, from Brazil, but now actually lives and trains in Florida. Currently rides a 3-fight winning streak. She has a 100% finish rate, 2 KOs, and 7 subs. We love to see that. Lost her UFC debut, her only professional defeat to Sam Hughes in 2023. Since then, finished Montezera Conejo, submitted Cora McKenna, and last time she fought in September, a 3.5-minute armbar win. So, as of right now, 2 straight round 1 armbar wins. We know how Jacqueline Amorim is coming in game planned for this, but what was there not to love about her? 100% finish rate. Love to see that in the women's division. Minus 800 favorite. She's a massive favorite in this one. I'm excited to see her compete. She takes on Poliana Viana, 32 years old, from Brazil. She also has a 100% finish rate, 6 KOs and 8 subs. Under 7 losses, she has been submitted or knocked out 3 times. She was actually supposed to fight in October, but that fight never came to fruition. So last time she fought, January 2024. It has been almost a year and a half since you last saw Poliana Viana. She's actually most known for doing cosplay. She actually makes money on OnlyFans doing cosplay. Funny enough, so Poliana Viana making money from the streets, oddly enough. Not going to say anything on that. No comments from me. 6 of her 7 losses have came in the UFC, and she's only picked up 4 wins. So 4-6 in the UFC, hasn't won since 2022. I feel like this prediction is obvious. I think it should come to no surprise. Jacqueline Amorim, round 1 submission. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But hey, anywhere you see women's MMA fights with an underdog, I always like to say, if you have a little extra money, sprinkle something on it. You put that plus 550 with that plus, oh my gosh, what was Chelsea Chan, like plus 240? You're looking at almost a plus 800. Okay, little 2 parlay right there. That can make you some coin. But we're sticking with Jacqueline Amorim since we don't actually bet. We like to pick actual winners here on the Surprise Jet podcast, which we're doing pretty good. I'm trying to see if where are we currently? If I can try and think. I think we're 104-53. Yeah, there we are. We're plus 51 units this year. I mean, come on. I know ball. Let me tell you that. Moving back to the men's bantamweight action as the debuting Malcolm the Machine Wellmaker takes on Cameron MSP Saman. Malcolm minus 130, Cameron plus 110. Pretty close odds. Malcolm Wellmaker 8-0, Cameron 9-2. 5'10" to 5'8". Malcolm has 2 inches in height and 4 inches in reach. 71-67. Switch stance for Malcolm Wellmaker. Southpaw with that left hand for Cameron Saman. Malcolm Wellmaker, kind of has an interesting ring to it. Got a southern ring to it. 30 years old and son of a gun. He's from Georgia. 4 KOs and 2 subs. 6 of his 8 wins by finish. And he won his Davis Contender Series fight with a round 1 knockout of Adam Bramhold. What's there not to love? Coming off a Davis Contender Series, got a knockout, and you get to debut on a card. You know, Georgia is kind of far away from Kansas City, but nonetheless, still exciting. Get to actually debut in front of a crowd. He seems like a striker to me, even though he's got a couple sub wins. We'll see how he does as he takes on the young gun, the 24-year-old Cameron MSP Saman. From South Africa, you know, he's no DDP. DDP made every South African proud. Cameron Saman has not. 7 finishes in his 9 wins, 6 KOs and 1 sub. And of his 2 losses, he was knocked out for the first time in his last contest in March 2024 against Peyton Talbot. But his losses, Chris Rodriguez and Peyton Talbot. So, mind you, Peyton Talbot was humbled by Raoni Barcelos earlier this year, but Peyton Talbot is still pretty freaking good. And Chris Rodriguez, we know, is the prospect killer. Before that, I mean, he beat Terrence Mitchell, beat Mana Martinez, Steven Kozlow, and Joshua Wayne Kim. Yeah, he beat a bunch of randos. So, Cameron Saman He's had a year to kind of work his kinks out, see what works, see what doesn't, and he's coming back, and he's taking on a debuting Malcolm Wellmaker. Now, I actually really love Cameron Saman here just because I can see him pulling off an upset, but something tells me Malcolm's going to catch him. And usually when you get knocked out for the first time, does it get better for the next one? You know, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, they could get knocked down and bounce back, but when you're Cameron Saman, 9-0, then you drop your first decision, then you get knocked down round one. Yeah, kind of changes people's perception of you. So, Malcolm Wellmaker, round one knockout. I'm riding with him. If he loses, let's revisit this and go, hey, Zach, you actually said that you should have picked Cameron Saman, and I'll go, yeah, I guess that's how it works. But, yes, we are riding with Malcolm Wellmaker, round one knockout. From bantamweight to bantamweight as we go to Damon Blackshear and Alatenge. Damon, the monster Blackshear, and Alatengele, the Mongolian Knight. I absolutely love his nickname. Damon, 16-7-1. Alatenge, 17-9-2. 5'10 to 5'5. 5 inches in height for Damon Blackshear. 6 inches in reach. 72-66. Damn, Alatenge is small. Switch stands for Damon, orthodox for Alatenge. And Damon, minus 345, is the favorite at plus 265. Alatengele is the underdog. Damon Blackshear always been on the verge of a rigged shot. Always is on the verge. I think they're kind of trying to pick him up with a fight like this. 30 years old from North Carolina. 13 of his 16 wins by finish. 2 KOs and 11 submissions. And he's only ever been finished once of his 7 defeats. And by the way, that was a 19-second knockout to Montel Jackson. But we know how freaking good Montel Jackson is, for goodness sake. Since that, he's on a little 2-fight win streak. 2 submissions, submitted Cody Stamann in November, and submitted Cody Gibson in March. That is right. He last fought March 15th. He's having a quick little month turnaround. Love to see that from Damon Blackshear. So far in the UFC, I mean, like I said, the Montel Jackson loss, another loss, Mario Bautista, another one, Farid Basharat, and Yusuf Zalal. He had a draw against his debut. So, Damon Blackshear has really had some tough opposition to face so far in the UFC. This one will be interesting if it does offer him a challenge, but Alatenge is really hit or miss. The underdog, 33 years old from Mongolia, but now actually trains and lives in Arizona. 8 of his 17 wins by finish. He's got 5 KOs and 3 subs. And of his 9 defeats, he's been finished 4 times. He's currently sitting at 5-4. Actually, 5-2 with a draw. My bad. 5-2 with a draw. Complete, not 4 losses in the UFC. And he picked up a win in May of last year against Cledson Rodriguez. Did it with the grappling. His losses are to Gustavo Lopez and Casey Kenny. Oh, and Chris Gutierrez. Forgot about that one. That was short notice, though. So, Alatenge, there's just nothing really to wow me with him, if I'm being honest. And Damon Blackshear has been wowing me, so I am going to stick with Damon Blackshear getting around to submission. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the theme here in UFC Kansas City. Similar to how the Kansas City Chiefs don't need to fix their team if their team just keeps freaking winning. So that's what we're going to stick with. We're going with Damon Blackshear. And honestly, I'd pick Damon Blackshear over a lot of bantamweights. If I'm being honest, I think Damon Blackshear is super talented. Mind you, only 30 years old. He still has time to get a ranked shot and maybe even a title shot if he stays consistent. Moving to some former bantamweights now fighting in the featherweight division, you get Chris El Guapo Gutierrez taking on John Sexy Mexi Castaneda. Chris, 21-6 with 2 draws, 21-7. For John Castaneda. Wow, pretty similar. 5'9 to 5'6. Chris has 3 inches in height, and John actually has 4 inches in reach. 71-67. Switch stands for Castaneda. Orthodox for Chris Gutierrez. Minus 115 for both men. That is right. The odds makers cannot decide it. Honestly, I can't decide. This is such good matchmaking. I kind of see why the UFC matchmakers get paid to do what they do, because this is prime matchmaking right here. Let's start with Chris. 34 years old from Texas, but now trains in Denver. 10 of his 21 wins by finish, so a decision merchant, 9 KOs and 1 sub. And of his 6 losses, he's only ever been submitted once. He's actually had 2 canceled fights this year, one in March and I think another one in March. I think these 2 have been trying to fight for a while, but just haven't been able to. Chris actually hasn't fought since August of last year, where he beat Quang Lee on short notice. But I mean, Chris Gutierrez, let's look at his losses. Song Yadong, Pedro Munoz, and Raoni Barcelos, and Raoni Barcelos one was back in 2018. So Chris has truly only fought in the top competitors in the division. He's 34. I don't know what's really left for him to do in the UFC, but now he's at featherweight. Maybe he's more comfortable. He doesn't have to cut as much weight. We'll see if that changes how he fights when he takes on Sexy Mexi John Castaneda, 33 years old from Minneapolis, Minnesota. 14 of his 21 wins by finish, 7 KOs and 7 subs. Of his 2 losses, he has been TKO'd twice. He's actually also had 2 canceled bouts. So I think these two have been waiting to get booked for a while. I think these two have been trying to get booked against each other for some time this year, and now it's finally coming to fruition. John last fought in June last year where he lost to Daniel Marcos. Tough decision there, but Daniel Marcos is undefeated. Do want to kind of note that. So he did kind of humble him, but John, he's not too bad. Not too bad in the UFC. He's sitting at 4-3, so this will be a real make or break for him, and I want to stay loyal to John Castaneda, but I just don't see him beating Chris Gutierrez. I see John shooting for a takedown, Chris stuffing it. I see Chris landing combos on John Castaneda and John trying to fire back and getting clipped again. I don't see a finish taking place here. I'd say I could see either guy winning, but a finish would really surprise me. So I'm going to go with Chris Gutierrez by a decision. 29-28 I'll go with. Maybe you get a takedown from John Castaneda, almost gets a submission, maybe in round 2 or 3, but I'm going to Chris Gutierrez to win. I'm sorry, John. I should stay loyal to my Minnesota boys, but I'm not, so I'm clearly not a good person. Moving up again in weight to the men's lightweight division as another short notice matchup takes place here as Evan the Phenom Elder takes on, I think it's Gage G Money Young. It's Gauge. I was debating this before the podcast. I think it's Gage Young. It could be Gouge. I don't think his name is Gouge Young. I think it's Gage spelled weird. We'll have to see when Bruce officially announces him. But Evan Elder minus 225. G Money Young plus 160. Evan Elder 9-2. Gage Young, 9-2, 5'10" to 5'9", 1 inch in height for Evan Elder, and 2 inches in reach as well for Evan, 72 to 70. Switch stance for Elder, orthodox for Young. Orthodox stands for Mr. Gage Young here. Evan Elder, 28 years old from Florida, currently on a little too fat winning streak. 6 of his 9 wins by finish. He's got 4 KOs and 2 subs, and he's only ever been finished once, knocked down in his 1 lone defeat by finish. He was actually supposed to fight on March 15th, and that fight didn't get worked out. And then he was supposed to take on Ahmad Asanzada here, and Ahmad Asanzada got arrested for, I think, sleeping with someone underage. So, yeah, Ahmad, you are not coming to the UFC, let me tell you that. Now, Evan Elder is in the UFC. He's 2-2 so far, and he's on a 2-fight winning streak. Can't beat that, coming off an arm triangle win in July over Darius Flowers. Great stuff. Truly great stuff. His lone fight that he got finished in, a fight of the night against Nazim Sadikov, he literally, he couldn't see. His face was so battered, they stopped it. I don't think that, oh my gosh, guys, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. We have breaking news live here on the podcast. I'm sorry, I wasn't going to mention this, and it just popped up on my screen. UFC 318 in New Orleans. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier for the BMF belt. Dustin Poirier's last ride. Oh my gosh, what? What just happened? Data, how can you just drop this on me mid-podcast? This is insane. UFC 318, BMF champion Max Holloway takes on Dustin Poirier. Oh my gosh, inject that into my veins. You already know I'm riding with Dustin Poirier in that one. Holy cow. I'm so sorry. Wow. I'm so sorry, but yeah, that is insane. That is insane. Gage Young, you gotta follow that. That is live breaking news here on the podcast. Live breaking news here on the podcast. That's insane. Gage Young, 24 years young from Missouri, coming off a win. He has 7 of 9 wins by finish, 6 KOs and 1 sub. He's been submitted once in his 2 losses. He lost on last season of Day 1's Contender Series, got taken down 9 times. It was absolutely embarrassing, and now he's coming to the UFC. So, honestly, I think Evan Elder's going to eat him for breakfast. Gage Young doesn't really offer me much. Evan Elder by round 2 submission, take it to the bank. I can't get over that announcement. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Anything else, Dana? Anything else I should be aware of? July 19th in New Orleans. Oh my gosh. That was announced on the Pat McAfee show. How about that? Pat McAfee show is the new show to break news on. That's awesome. That's super freaking awesome. Let's get into our last prelim matchup here. Matt Danger Schnell taking on Jimmy the Brick Flick in the men's flyweight division. Matt Schnell returning 16-9 with one no contest. Jimmy Flick, 17-8. 5'8" to 5'7", we get some short boys. Matt does have an inch there in height and 2 inches in reach. 70-68. Orthodox hands for both of these gentlemen. Matt Schnell, minus 265. Jimmy Flick, plus 215. Matt Schnell coming into this one, he's back. 35 years old from Louisiana. Maybe he can get on that New Orleans card then. 2 KOs and 9 subs, 11 of 16 wins by finish, and 8 of his 9 losses he's been finished in, including 5 by knockout. So yeah, Matt Schnell currently on a 3-fight losing streak, finished in all of them. Last fought in September, actually, against Cody Durden. I thought he retired. I swore he retired, but I guess not. Yeah, he was submitted by Cody Durden, knocked out by Steve Erceg, knocked out by Matthias Nicolau. He's been submitted by Brandon Royval. He's been knocked out by Alexander Pantoja. He's been knocked out by Hector Sandoval. He's been knocked out by Rob Font. Holy cow. Last time he won, Sumadarji, July 2022, in a comeback fight of the night. So, yeah, and he's the favorite here. Interesting. Very interesting from Matt Schnell. But hey, Matt, we're happy to have you back in the UFC. He's taking on the underdog Jimmy Flick, 34 years old, from Oklahoma. Of his 17 wins, 15 of them by submission. Get this. Of his 8 losses, 6 of them by KO. The matchmakers are insane on this card. I absolutely love it. Jimmy Flick has just had the weirdest UFC run. Comes in, gets a flying triangle choke in his debut. We're like, oh my gosh, this guy is so legit. Charles Johnson knocks him out. All right, you know what? He's coming back. Alexandre Costa knocks him out. Takes a couple months off, comes back, almost gets knocked out by Malcolm Gordon, submits him. Then last time he fought in June last year, Nate Maness just casually outstruck him. Pretty much. But Jimmy Flick back in action here. I think this is a great opportunity for Matt Schnell to win. I think Matt Schnell's cursed. I truly believe it. I think I'll tell you what's going to happen. Matt Schnell is going to knock down Jimmy Flick, and Jimmy Flick's going to submit him on the ground. I'm calling it right now. Jimmy Flick add another submission to his resume. I got to pick some underdog on here, guys. I just realized I haven't picked a single underdog on the prelims, and you never have every single favorite win. So Jimmy Flick, final prelim. He's going to be flicking up afterwards. But if Matt Schnell wins, I will feel very happy for him. Whoever loses this, I'll feel a tad sad for. I know I'm picking Jimmy, but it kind of hurt to see Matt Schnell lose again. So maybe he'll pick up a win. Who knows at this point? With that, let's get into this fantastic main card. I mean, it's rare you get a crowd event. Think about UFC Denver last year. That card absolutely sucked. UFC Edmonton. You get some really bad cards. This is a really good main card. First up, middleweight division. Ikram Alkaserov, Andre Muniz. How fantastic is that in the men's middleweight division? Ikram, 15-2. Andre Muniz, 24-6. 6'1" to 6 foot. 1 inch a night for Andre. 2 inches as well in reach. 78-76. Southpaw for both of them. How about that? Southpaw stance. Interesting. Ikram, minus 600. Plus 440 for Andre Muniz. Wow. A lot of people back in Ikram Alkaserov, and honestly, I don't blame him. 32 years old from Russia. Of his 15 wins, 11 finishes, 6 KOs, and 5 subs. Of his 2 defeats, he's been knocked out in round 1 in both of them. And he was actually supposed to fight February 1st against Andre Muniz. Maybe like, oh gosh, this guy sucks. He's been knocked out both his losses. That last time he fought, actually, last year in June, he was knocked out. Yeah, let me tell you, those 2 losses are to Hamza Chimaev and Robert Whittaker. That's right. Ikram Alkaserov has only lost, by the way, by uppercut knockout round 1, to Hamza Chimaev and Robert Whittaker. Other than that, has dismantled Phil Hawes and Walray Alvarez, and even Mario Sosa on the Dana White Contender Series. He has just ran through everyone. That isn't one of the best fighters we have on the planet. So Ikram, I can see why he's a favorite for a reason. His opponent, Andre, big underdog, 35 from Brazil, 19 of his 24 wins by finish, 4 KOs and 15 subs, and all 6 of his losses he's been finished in, 5 of them by KO, 1 of them by submission. His 2 in the UFC are to Brendan Allen and Paul Craig. Last time he fought, December 2023, he grappled Junyoung Park to a split decision win. So before that, he was on an incredible run. He had a couple great arm bars. He beat Gray Souza, Eric Anders, Uriah Hall, and then just kind of fell into just like a trance of just not doing anything. And, he hasn't fought since 2023. The entire world is different. I think he's going to come back. Chin might be a bit soft, and Ikram's going to catch him. Ikram's going to knock out Andre Muniz in round number 1, guys. I'm telling you that right now. Ikram is as good as advertised, and after this, he'll probably have a ranked opportunity coming at him. Roman Kopilov, loser of Michel Pereira, Abus Magomedov, maybe even the winner. Rainier Ritter and Bo Nickal are fighting. He could fight the loser of that. He could even come in and fight Paulo Costa. Okay, there's a lot of options to do with Ikram Alkaserov, but I'm definitely backing him in that one. Right, run to some issues here. Welterweight division. This always happens to me. I always pick these fights wrong. Randy, Rude Boy Brown, Nicholas, Danish Dynamite Dalby. The aging welterweight, unranked aging welterweights, I can never pick these fights correctly. Especially for these two. I swear I always pick Nicholas Dalby and Randy Brown fights wrong, and now they're fighting each other. So I feel like I have a better chance here. Randy Brown, 19-6. Nicholas Dalby, 23-5 with 1 draw and 2 no contests. Wow. He's had a lot. 4 inches in height for Randy Brown, 6'3" to 5'11". 4 inches in reach as well, 7'8" to 7'4". Orthodox stance for both of these gentlemen. Randy, minus 240. Plus 195 for Nicholas Dalby. So Randy is coming in. We'll see if the odds kind of drop a bit. I expect them to, but Randy Brown, the minus 200 favorite range. Randy Rude Boy Brown, 34 years old from Massachusetts, but now trains in New York City. 12 of his 19 wins by finish. He has had 7 KOs and 5 subs, and 4 of his 6 losses have came by finish. Last time he fought, lost to Brian Battle in December, but that was a humbling fight, not for Randy, but for Brian Battle, and a lot of people thought Randy Brown won that, to be honest. Randy Brown has actually had a pretty stellar run in the UFC since 2021. He is 7-2. 2 of those losses, Jack Della Maddalena and Brian Battle. And by the way, before that, his loss, Vicente Luque in 2020. So Randy Brown has had a really good run in the UFC. He also lost to Bilal Muhammad back in 2017. That win is aged pretty good. So Randy Brown has always fought into a certain level of the people he's fighting. He's had a knockout last year against Muslim Slikov. That was fantastic. But one thing I'll say, he is a distance striker. Okay, he by the way, getting taken down is his weakness, but he's a distance striker. So what he really likes to do is keep the distance with his long, lanky arms. And if you watch the Muslim Slikov fight, he was able to hit a straight that landed clean. For this fight against Nicholas Dalby, it's probably going to be a bit slower paced, but there's always the potential for some excitement. So Nicholas Dalby, he's 40. He doesn't fight like a guy who's 40. Okay, from Denmark, 11 of those 23 wins by finish, so decision machine, 7 kills and 4 subs make up those 11 finishes. And he's never actually been finished. Of his 5 defeats, never been finished. These two were actually supposed to fight November 9th, and unfortunately, Dalby couldn't fight, I think, for some reason. Or maybe Dalby had a fight booked. I don't know. Dalby has been out of the game since June 2024, but has been trying to stay active. In June, he did lose a split decision to Renat Fakhretdinov, which I was a bit surprised was a split decision. Should have been a unanimous decision for Renat, but he really looked good in that. I mean, this is the same guy who became the first man to beat Gabriel Bonfim, who has beaten Claudio Silva, Walray Alves, Muslim Slikov, Daniel Rodriguez, Alex Oliveira. He is super talented. He's a decision guy. He's a decision guy, So for this one, I really want to pick Dalby, but something just tells me Dalby's going to just get caught in this trance of Randy Brown casually outstriking him. He's going to fall behind. Maybe Dalby wins round 3, but it's too late. Randy Brown's only won the first 2 rounds, so we're going to go Randy Brown winning a decision over Nicholas Dalby. That's going to be our official prediction. Then we get into what I like to call the Big Four. The Big Four, the Power Four, as my friends call it in hockey, which is the best 4 players on the team. And it kicks off middleweight division. We head to the rankings. The number 14th ranked, the all-action Michel Pereira, taking on, Demoladior is his nickname, taking on Abus Magomedov. What a matchup. And especially put this not the apex in front of a crowd. Kudos to you, UFC. Michel, 31-12 with 2 no contests. Abus, 27-6 with 1 draw. 6'2 to 6'1", 1 inch in height for Abus. 5 inches in reach for Magomedov. 78-73, orthodox stance for both of these gentlemen. Michel, minus 135, plus 115 for Abus. Those odds are definitely going to bounce around a bit. Michel Pereira, 31 years old from Brazil. 19 of his 31 wins by finish. 11 KOs and 8 subs. Mind you, the majority have came in the last few years. I do want to say that. Of those 11 defeats, 2 knockouts and 1 sub. So this guy is not easy to finish. I do want to say that for Michel Pereira. He is not easy to finish. He's been all action since he came to the UFC. In the UFC, I believe he is 9-3 which is insane. He was actually on an 8-fight winning streak before he ran to his first main event against Anthony Hernandez in October, and that is one of the most boring, exciting fights I've ever watched. I don't even know how to describe it. So the fight starts off, Michel Pereira almost knocks out Anthony Hernandez, puts him in a guillotine choke, and that's that. After that first minute, Anthony Hernandez proceeds to maul Michel Pereira, 152 significant strikes to 24, 10 takedowns. And honestly, the fight was stopped halfway through the final round, and who was the referee for that one? It was Herb Dean. Herb Dean was literally just okay, let's just give Anthony Hernandez a TKO. He wasn't actually damaging Pereira at all, but Pereira was humbled so much in that, and it truly exposed his grappling. And it kind of exposed he is a start right off the bat finisher. And mind you, the 3 fights before that, 54 seconds, minute 1 second, minute 6 seconds. So that'll happen. That'll happen when you're winning all your fights in a minute, for goodness sake. So we'll see if he can rally, but it won't be easy, because he's taking on a tough competitor here in Abus Magomedov. Abus, 34 years old, born in Dagestan, Russia, but now actually trains in Germany, lives in Germany. I wonder, he actually bears the German flag. That's crazy to know. 21 of his 27 wins by finish. He has had 14 knockouts and 7 subs. Of his 6 defeats, he's been finished 4 times. His 2 losses in the UFC have aged stupendously. Sean Strickland got a title shot off of him, and Kyle Barallo beat him and couldn't finish him. Mind you, Kyle Barallo is an absolute savage. So, other than that, his UFC debut, he got a 19-second knockout. In May of 2024, he picked up a safe decision win over Walter Alves, and then went out in October and submitted Bruno Ferreira. I mean, that was a crazy good win for Abus Magomedov. It was amazing to see, because Bruno Ferreira is super tough. He was able to withstand the striking, land some takedowns, and I think that's how this fight's going to go. I think you're going to see a little submission action here from Abus Magomedov. I'm picking Abus Magomedov over Michel Pereira, and it's not out of, I don't think Michel Pereira isn't good. I think that Michel Pereira is going to start fast. Abus is going to be able to survive it. He's going to land a takedown, and unlike Anthony Hernandez, he's going to lock in a submission, lock in some hard ground and pound, and he's going to get the win. So, Abus Magomedov over Michel Pereira, I can honestly see a decision as well, but I think it's going to be one of those fights where people aren't necessarily happy with the outcome, because I think Abus Magomedov is going to get, just kind of shut down the excitement of Michel Pereira and get the victory. So, Abus over Michel. That's my prediction. With that, we get into some more ranked opposition. Featherweight division, the number 12 ranked Giga Chikadze welcomes David Onama. Yes, freaking yes. Giga Ninja Chikadze. David doesn't have a nickname. Onama should give him a nickname after this one. Giga 15-4 is your underdog. Plus 140. 13-2 David Onama. Minus 170. That's right. David is the favorite. Love to see that. Giga 15-4. David 13-2. 6 foot to 5'11". 1 inch for Giga. 74 inch for both of them. Orthodox hands. These two are pretty similar. These two are fairly similar. Now, we'll just see what happens when they get inside the octagon. Giga, 36, wow, from Georgia. Wow, it's crazy. In 2022, he had so much prowess, and injuries have just hurt him. 10 of his 15 wins by finish, 9 kills and 1 sub. Of his 4 defeats, he's been submitted once. Giga came in with just so much hype. He was on a 7-fight win streak. He had knocked out Jeremy Simmons, Cub Swanson, Edson Barbosa. He had so much momentum. And then Calvin Kattar beat the brakes off him for 5 rounds. It was insane. He then took almost 2 years off, came back, beat Ox Caceres in a close fight, and then fought Arnold Allen in July, and it just didn't have a killer instinct. I just think he dealt with a lot of injuries from 2022 to 2024, and those have kind of hurt him, and the inactivity is certainly hurting him. So, Giga is coming in 1-2, but mind you, his losses, Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen, not too bad of guys to have losses to. Now, he's unfortunately going to lose again as he takes on the killer, the assassin, Jeremy the Assassin Onama. I love it right there. That's right, 30 years old, from Uganda, now hails out of Kansas City. That's right, he's the only hometown boy officially in my mind. And, man, 11 of 13 wins by finish, 7 kills, 4 subs. He himself has never been finished. Oh, man. UFC debut, lost to Mason Jones, insane fight. Follows that up, 2 finishes. Then, Nate Landwehr. August 2022, it was UFC San Diego. That is one of the most insane fights I've ever watched. He unfortunately came up on the wrong side of a decision, but man, was he a dog in this one. Followed that up, performance of the night knockout of Gabriel Santos. Beat the brakes off of Jonathan Pierce. Last time he fought, we already mentioned Roberto Romero, UFC 309. We picked the man he beat, Roberto Romero. You best bet we're picking the man who won that fight, David Onama. I think David's a killer. I truly do. Giga Chikaze's never been finished. I think David's going in and getting himself a round 2 knockout. I think he's clipping Giga. Giga's getting all wobbled. David's falling up. He's pounding on him on the cage. Maybe a premature stoppage, some people are going to say, but David Onama gets the win. If you can't tell, we are heavily rooting for David Onama. With that, folks, let's get into the co-main event of the evening, and this is bittersweet. Let me tell you, bittersweet. Number 15th ranked Anthony Smith in his final career matchup. That is right, Anthony Smith. His long storied career, it's going to come to an end. He's had a crazy run. This is going to be his 60th career fight. 60 fights, insane accomplishment. He's 38-21. He's incredible. Lion heart. He's got the heart of a lion. And unfortunately, the only thing that can beat the heart of a lion is a mountain tiger coming to you from Shanghai, China. Zhang Ming Yang. They are feeding Anthony Smith, oh man, to a tiger on his deathbed. Oh my gosh, Zhang Ming Yang, 18-6. Now, we all know Anthony Smith is a fantastic gatekeeper. Oh man, I don't know if he can do it here, but we'll have to see. 6'4", 6'2", he does hold 2 inches in height over Zhang Ming Yang. And 1 inch in reach, 76-75. They both have an orthodox stance. And you know what? Let's touch on Anthony. Good. The final time we're ever going to discuss Anthony Smith fighting. It's insane. Plus 390. He is the underdog. 36 years old from Nebraska. So, not too far from Kansas City compared to other places. 19 KOs and 15 subs. 34 of 38 victories have came by finish. Fantastic stuff. Now, of his 21 defeats, he has been knocked out 11 times and submitted 5 times. So 16 of 21 wins have, come by finish. But mind you, that's insane. Of 60 fights, only 9 in his career have gone the distance. That's wild. That's actually incredible. Anthony Smith came to the UFC in 2011 fighting out of Strikeforce. Officially made his UFC debut in 2013. He's just taken on some greats. Let me just list you some names. Thiago Santos, Mauricio Rufy, Rashad Evans, Volkan Ozdemir, getting finishes and all those. Took on John Jones and could have won the belt. John Jones should have been disqualified, but he chose to push on. Finished Alexander Gustafsson, took on Glover Teixeira and lost teeth. Lost to Alexander Rakic, beat Devin Clark, Jimmy Crute, Ryan Spann, had a career revitalization. Fought Magomed Ankalaev, fought Johnny Walker. He's beaten Ryan Spann, Vitor Petrino he humbled. He fought Khalil Roundtree Jr. Oh my gosh, on short notice might I add. Took on Roman Dolidze on short notice. Last time he fought in December, lost to Dominic Reyes, but just showed the heart of a lion, gave as much as he could that, but his body just wouldn't continue. Anthony Smith is the definition of an MMA fighter. He's fought off a home invader to save his family. Anthony Smith, I salute you. Now, unfortunately, let's talk about the downside to this, as he's taken on minus 520 from the mountains of China. 10 years younger at 26. On a 11-fight winning streak with a 100% finish rate. Oh man, it's Zhang Ming Yang. Now mind you, 5 of 6 losses for Zhang Ming. He's been finishing. Do just want to add that in. Zhang came in on from Road to the UFC, round 1 knockout. Made his UFC debut last February, round 1 knockout. Fought in November, round 1 knockout in China. So yeah, Zhang Ming Yang is a killer. I hope the best for Anthony Smith. His family will be in attendance, but yeah, we're going to pick Zhang Ming Yang. Yeah, we're going to move past that, guys. So yeah, Zhang Ming Yang, round 1 knockout. Hey, maybe the Lionheart will come out one last time. But with that, folks, we'll get into the main event because it's insane. This is an insane main event. Let's not act like this main event isn't insane. Welterweight division, Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. What? Are you freaking serious? Now, we were supposed to have Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree Jr. That fight's being rebooked for the 4th freaking time for UFC Baku, but you know what? I'm glad we don't have it. I would much rather have the number 7th ranked Ian Gary taking on the number 13th ranked Carlos Prates. This is awesome. This is freaking awesome. Minus 125 for Ian, plus 105 for Carlos Prates. The odds makers can't decide. It's like one day someone's the underdog, one day someone's the favorite. It's basically 50-50 if you ask me on the odds. Now, which is the actual competitors. Let's look at them. Ian, the future, Machado Gary, 15-1. My bad. 15-1. Maybe he'll be 16-1. And he's taking on the Nightmare, Carlos Prates. Oh, he's so freaking cold. He smokes cigars. He sips whiskey. Carlos Prates is a badass. 21-6 for Carlos Prates. 6'3" to 6'1", 2 inches in height for Ian. 4 inches in reach for Carlos. 78-74. Switch stance for Prates. Orthodox for Ian Gary. Let's start with the number 7th ranked Ian Gary. 27 years young from Ireland. 7 KOs and 1 sub. Make 8 of his 15 wins by finish. He was actually supposed to fight in the main event against Joaquin Buckley on December 14th, but unfortunately, he was able to take on Shavkat Rakhmonov in a number 1 contenders fight, and then we of course know that Joaquin Buckley went on to fight Colby Covington. So kind of worked out for Joaquin, not for Ian Gary, but we'll move past that. Ian Gary, super talented. He was 8-0 in the UFC before running into Shavkat. Shavkat obviously beat him in a highly competitive fight, but Ian Gary almost did it. He almost submitted him twice, but unfortunately, it was just a very technical fight. Shavkat was kind of injured, and Ian Gary didn't really want to engage, but Ian taking this fight on somewhat short notice, one could say. This is a very exciting fight. He's had the whole month to prepare for the one thing that haunts him every night, the Nightmare, Carlos Prates. 31 from Brazil, 19 of his 21 wins by finish, 16 knockouts and 3 subs. From Brazil, 11-fight win streak. I mean, holy cow. Holy cow. He was supposed to fight Jeff Neal April 12th. Jeff Neal pulled out. And now you're getting this fight. And Carlos Prates, he is your debut fighter of 2024. Rookie of the year, whatever you want to call it. He went 4-0. All of them knockouts. He knocked out Neil Magny in November. So cold. Carlos Prates might be my favorite fighter in the UFC. And look, I can give you a big analysis here. I can go into all the technicalities of why I think Carlos Prates is going to win. I can go into how maybe Ian Gary is getting a little over his head with this. He had too quick of a turnaround. Maybe how Ian Gary actually has better grappling, or Carlos Prates hasn't fought someone to the level of Ian Gary. But I'm just flat out going to say Carlos Prates is a bad MFer, and he's going to go in. And he's going to knock out Ian Gary in round number 2. It's just as simple as that. Carlos Prates is literally him. Okay, we've seen Gene Silva this year. We've seen Mauricio Ruffy. The fighting nerds are taking over the UFC. And they're the next Dagestanis. I just want you to know, you got Kyle Barallo, he's going to win the middleweight championship. Carlos Prates is going to win the welterweight championship. Mauricio Ruffy is going to win the lightweight championship. And Gene Silva is going to win the featherweight championship. You're watching a fighting nerds takeover, and Carlos Prates will become the second fighting nerd to enter the top 10 when he knocks out Ian Gary. I mean, not even just from a fan perspective, I actually don't see like a straight road to victory here for Ian Gary, besides distant striking, landing takedowns. And mind you, Carlos Prates has exceptional takedown defense. We'll see how the chin of Ian Gary is, but this is a phenomenal main event right here. And with that, guys, that wraps up our UFC Kansas City predictions. I am pumped. I don't know about y'all, but I'm absolutely pumped. And how about Dustin Poirier fighting freaking Max Holloway? I mean, what a glorious episode, guys. What an amazing episode. How spontaneous. But with that, I have stuff to do. I actually have a banquet in like 3 hours. I'm a busy man. You know what it's like being Zachary Ruger, president of the Marketing Club, student of the year, host of the Surprise Jump podcast. Man, he lives a crazy life. But guys, hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you watch this. I hope you watch this and take all my picks and you use them and you win some money if you want to, because honestly, I should start betting. I should start winning money, for goodness sakes. But I'll send you all on your way. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the listeners. And if you didn't know, we'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jab podcast. Have a good one, guys.